The Crypt interviews in association with Mayo Leisure Point Castle Bar.
You're listening to The Crypt, and this week's special guest is independent filmmaker Scott Lyus from Crossroad Pictures. So thanks so much for joining me on the show, Scott.
No worries, excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, I suppose firstly, when did you start making movies?
I've been making films since I was young, to be honest, picking up my dad's camera and kind of going from there, you know, but that's the classic home movie type stuff.
Yeah.
And then I really took it seriously, kind of come college, started learning a little bit more about it, getting more involved in it. And then in 2012, that's when I made my first proper short films, I say it was, which is called Supernova, and by that I mean that was my first with real actors, a real crew, people that wasn't my friends and family. So it was my attempt to see if actually I could live in that world, and you know, I was able to direct actors and work with a crew properly and stuff like that. So 2012 was my jumping off point, if you will.
So that was when Crossroad Pictures formed?
Yes, yeah, Crossroad Pictures, yeah, that's when I started. Crossroad was in 2012.
Well, what movies and directors would you say have inspired your work?
Oddly, a lot of people expect like horror directors to be on this list, and I would. I'm not just saying this because of Crypt, but Eli Roth was actually a bit of an influence growing up, and I'll explain that so people don't think I'm just saying it because of the radio station. But when he released Hostel, I was a big fan of Cabin Fever. But then when he released Hostel, I was also a big Quentin Tarantino fan, as any person that goes to film school or college or whatever you do, you know, we all love Tarantino. So when Hostel come around, Tarantino had a little something to do. Like, I've got a little thing for special features and watching all the special features and the commentaries and stuff like that. And there's a great bit on a commentary to Hostel where Eli Roth does the cut with a toenail clippers. So someone goes to get their toe cut off, and then he changes the scene to the Asian girl sitting there clipping her toenails. And it's like this old cut that was done in like a grindhouse 70s film. And on the commentary, Tarantino just loses it. And it's like, I can't believe you done the cut, like such a cool cut. And on that, I was like, oh my God, like these guys take this as seriously as I do. Like, it was like, and up until that point, it was like this weird thing of maybe I took it too seriously, maybe because growing up in like Essex, I didn't really know too many people that really were into film. Even at college, like there was one or two people that were kind of into it, but not to that extent. So listening to that, I was like, oh my God, these guys, like, that's where I need friends like that. I need to get to that point in my life where I'm able to sit down and watch films with people that go as crazy as I do over little stuff. So Eli Roth, Tarantino, they're like big influences on me. But then, you know, like other people like Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg as well, actually is not really horror based, but Steven Spielberg's a big influence on mine, just from Jurassic Park and, you know, going back to E.T., Jaws, all that kind of stuff. I just love the way he puts films together. Michael Mann as well is a bit of an influence. Tony Scott was a really big influence, probably even more than Ridley Scott. Oddly, I know most people won't say that. I really growing up, I really started getting into film, and Tony Scott kind of just brought in this whole style of his own on like Domino and stuff like that, which was like the cranked camera style, which was a really like strange looking but really cool looking visual for me. So that really like inspired me. And then probably like some of my influences from like way back in cinema history would be people like James Wow, Frankenstein, and Bride of Frankenstein. I mean, Frankenstein's one of my favourite films of all time, so that's like a massive influence on me as well.
Well, your current project, Silently Within Your Shadow, has been nominated 3 times for Best Short Horror, and it's been circulating the festival scene. So could you give the basic outline of the story of that short film?
The best way I can describe it is, in short, it's a really twisted love triangle between a ventriloquist performer, her dummy, and her boyfriend. So our lead character, Lucette, who is played by an amazing actress called Sophie Tergeist, she is this ventriloquist performer that really wants to aspire to be all she can in her art form. and really push the boundaries of where she can take her, what she can do, and like she lives for this art. But at the same time, she has her relationship with her boyfriend Jace, played by a great actor called Byron Fernandes, and the ventriloquism, and then the symbol of this, the vision of this, is the dummy Hugo, comes in between the couple, and the relationship really starts to break down because of that. And Lucette really starts to struggle with a choice between choosing to keep chasing her art and keep putting 100% of herself into that, or kind of letting that lay a little bit and then jump into a relationship a little bit more like Jace wants. And through the course of the film, Jace really grows frustrated with this, grows frustrated with Hugo, and Hugo becomes the vision of his anger while also being the vision of Lucette's passion for her art.
And then it was so cool because you got horror icon Bill Moseley to do the voice of Hugo. How did that come about?
Sophie was kind of the reason that all happened in a way. So I originally just when I wrote the characters and wrote the films, the whole idea was just based in England, and like I didn't think I could ever get actors or actresses from anywhere else or do anything else. I've only worked with English actors. I thought that's what this would be, and that's where it got. It wasn't kind of by design, it was kind of more by means of that's all I thought I would have access to. Sophie actually has she has like an American accent, but she's not actually from America. One of her parents is American, but then she's also got like a bit of French in there, a bit of German, and a bit of English as well. But her accent growing up with one of her parents, she has this really nice American accent. So as soon as she auditioned, and as soon as I saw the audition, that's it. She was in. It was her all day long. Then I needed to cast the voice of Hugo, and again, this was just always going to be an English actor. Yeah, I kind of never imagined it would be anything other than an English actor. But then as soon as Sophie was on board and the American accent come into play, then I thought to myself, okay, I need to now Hugo's voice needs to be American. Now I need to get someone American in there. And then basically, like, I watch a lot of short films. I've always, even though until this film, I was never really part of the independent scene. I didn't really know anyone on it. I just kind of like looked up to a lot of people. So, and like watching from afar, and I'd seen a few people that have got some notable names in their films, and looking at that and kind of being inspired by it, I just thought, well, why not shoot from the start and just go for it? So I've got IMDb Pro, and I've never really used it despite paying for it. So through that, I was able to get some contact information, and I was able to email his agent. I emailed her the screenplay. And if I'm completely honest, I've told a few people I did not expect to get anything back at all. But as I said, it didn't cost me anything. I'd already paid for IMDb Pro. It didn't cost me anything to chase it. So amazingly, literally a couple of days later, she replied to the email saying, yeah, we really like it. I've already shown it to Bill. He really likes it. Let's do this. Let's get it going. So I was lucky enough to be able to work out a deal with them and get everything like that involved. And obviously the budget was never there to fly him over and get him to do anything, but luckily it was only a bit of voice work, and we worked out that we would communicate via phone, via over email, stuff like that, and then he'd go into a studio in LA and record the voice, and that's what happened. And I mean, one of the best decisions I ever made. I think he completely nailed it, and he just brings something completely extra to the film.
Well, that's it. And then when you're marketing it, having a name like that attached to it, people are going to be interested.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like, I can't deny that. And I think that's part of the reason why we've been really successful with this film. Like, based on, like, being up for a couple of awards and film festivals and stuff like that, we've now played 14 festivals and award things, like, all in all. And then we're also running like a solo UK tour where we take a few other indie films out with us and try and get them in front of an audience. But like, all that kind of comes about by having his name on the poster, and like, there's no doubt that does add a lot. Like, the 5 people that know who I am, they're not turning up to all these festivals, they're not turning up to every screening we do here in London. So having him there has got people. I would like to think that we got into festivals because we made a good film, and people then end up seeing that and think, oh, actually, it is a nice film, we can play it, people will enjoy it. But having him there definitely, it just opens someone's interest. Like, despite what a lot of festivals say, I don't think they probably watch everything that's entered. And just by having like his name there, you might just get one person go, oh, hold on, that's a bit different, I'll check that out.
And then I have to ask you, where did you get the doll for Hugo, and was that what you had envisioned when writing the script?
Yeah, so it was always going to be a ventriloquist doll, and I didn't want it to, like, I looked at loads and loads and loads, and I actually went to, I kind of found a couple of ventriloquist performers that I never met them, but I was able to find their information, talk to them online and stuff like that, and kind of just get all these different images of dolls and the ones they use and stuff like that. And basically it come down to, I didn't want the doll to be like really, really scary. Like, I didn't want it to look really creepy or really gothic on the outset. I didn't want it to be one of these dolls you see where, you know, they've already put really heavy eye makeup on it and you know, the whole thing's really dark. And I didn't like want to sell it in that way. I wanted the way we shot the film, the way, you know, the camera angles were used, the way in which Sophie and Byron interact with it. I wanted that to sell the creepiness. I wanted the music to sell the creepiness. I didn't want just the dolls in. So I wanted something that like was really authentic, that, you know, you would see it and you would go, okay, that's you're like, I can see that, that's a ventriloquist doll. But at the same time, I didn't want you to think like, oh, they've tried creeping out already just by the looks of it.
Well, it's like Annabelle. They totally OTT'd that doll.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. And it's odd you say that. Like, so many people say that. Like, it really is. It's something that I kind of thought it myself, but I hadn't actually spoke to anyone about it. And then since people have asked me this question, like, that's exactly what they say. Like, with all them films, they've just like really gone for the most creepy looking doll and like just tried selling it in that way. Yeah, and I thought like I made it to be more of a character in itself as well. I wanted the doll to represent kind of like, so like it's a dark part of the film, but it's also for Lucette. And if you look at it from Lucette's mindset, it's the heart for her, like that's her passion, that's her love. So I wanted it to have both them sides. And I think if you went for a really creepy doll like Annabelle, you wouldn't have actually got that. And plus, I think that if you have something that isn't as creepy and then you make it creepy with the music and your camera angles and stuff like that even more, because it's not meant to scare you.
With Annabelle, you look at it, in fairness, who would go out and buy that doll? Do you know what I mean?
That's exactly it. Like, who's gonna look at that and go, yeah, I probably wouldn't have got that in the first place. Like, I know that doll's messed up. I know there's something wrong with that doll.
The actual doll it's based on is just a very normal.
Oh, it's like isn't it like a Raggedy Ann doll? Like the real Annabelle doll is just a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah, I think they should just went for
that. Yeah, I do. When I saw that image, I was like, why didn't you just use that? That's even worse. That is something you would see a little kid playing with, and the fact that it is meant to have done everything it's done, like, that's even scarier, surely. That like that really would freak me out even more.
It's like when you think back to Poltergeist and the clown doll. I'm sure many people got their fear of clowns from that.
Actually, we've got a great example of that, like now, because we had the Poltergeist remake. And they just tried going way too scary with the way they done that clown in that film. And it just wasn't, they just did not sell it in the same way. And I think they really like missed the point of what was scary about the original version, the original clown. So then like in the remake, which was a bit of a disaster.
Getting back to Silently Within Your Shadow, you crowdfunded that. Was that an easy or difficult process?
Yeah, it was difficult, definitely. The film is actually only a quarter crowdfunded. So we like on the credits, you'll see there's only like a couple of names on there. I think like all in all, even with like little £5 investments that like help and working amazing. Like I absolutely love every single person that pledged to it. But we only had something like 25 backers all in all. Like I said, like to be honest, I tried promoting it and I really tried getting out there, and I tried, you know, finding people that would kind of support us a little bit, not just on like a pledging and investing side, but just kind of spreading the word. But in all honesty, like at that time, I knew no one. Like even though I'd made 2 previous short films, I didn't really do too much with them. Like I wasn't really very lucky with festivals. My previous film, All Good Ram, only played 1 festival, so like there just wasn't that name there really. And even with Bill involved, like that's probably the money we got anyway, like just on the basis of his name. So it was only actually a quarter crowdfunded, and then like there was a bit of private investment for another quarter, and I had to put half the money in myself. And that quarter actually come from our Indiegogo campaign. We'd previously set it up on Kickstarter, and even though we had a little bit of investment, we kind of failed miserably, in all honesty, and didn't reach our goal, and it didn't happen. But I didn't want to give up, and I didn't want to let that be the death of it. So we went on Indiegogo, and it was like, okay, let's see, what we get is what we get, and we're going to put that towards it, and then I'll just have to up the rest, and we'll make that happen. And that is what happened. But I can't complain at all, and I don't really fault anyone for like not backing us at that time. Like I said, no one really knew who I was. No one had probably seen my previous films. Some people that had seen them didn't like them. Other people really liked them. So it was a real mix on my previous stuff. So like I don't fault anyone, but at the same time, I absolutely adore and love everyone that did like support us and back us. And like to this day, like we, people that pledged that campaign and followed that campaign, they're still on board now. They're still promoting it. They're still pushing our trailer. They're still, every time like we get a new festival screening, or for the guys that like pledged here in the UK, like if on our solo tour, they're pushing dates out there and get people along, stuff like that. So while we might not have the big backing that some other people all had, the 25 people we did have, like for me, best 25 guys in the world, because them guys and girls, they've just given everything that I could have ever hoped for more, if I'm honest.
Do your name's out there now with Silently Within Your Shadow, so when you do your next one, people are going to know who you are.
Oh, thank you. I hope so. Thank you very much.
You mentioned there that you've done 2 other shorts, so could you tell us a bit about them, and are they available to watch on YouTube or that, for anyone who wants to check them out?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, they both are. So on my YouTube channel, which is YouTube /Crossroad Pictures. And yeah, the first one's called Supernova. As I've previously mentioned, that was my first ever proper short film. I kind of, like I said, I wasn't really involved in the industry in any way, shape or form at that point. I didn't really know anyone. Everyone I got into work on that film, I met on that film. I'm lucky enough to actually have kept most of them people through all my films, so I'm happy with that. But at the time, I knew no one, and I wasn't really established. And the one thing I saw was that a lot of short films were like really, really short, like 5-10 minutes, and now I'm fully aware there's a reason for that, and festivals don't really program anything longer, and people don't really like watching short films any longer than 15 minutes. But on Supernova, I was kind of very naive and thought, well, I'll try and give people something more, so I made like nearly a half-hour short film. It's like a little home invasion film with a little twist in there, and surprisingly, actually, through Silently and a bit of like the press and the love we've got off of that, recently I've actually had a few people like start watching that, and by no means are we in the thousands on our views or anything, but like previously Silently we were like probably like 100 views on YouTube, something like that, and then in the last 2-3 months we're nearly at like 600 views. So again, like not an amazing amount, I know that, but the fact that we've had that many people go in and watch half-hour short film, like to me is absolutely amazing. So that was like my first one. And then my second one, I tried cutting it half. It's like 16 minutes, called Order of the Ram. It's a satanic cult film, kind of my look at going back to like 70s style horror, really like digging into like a bit of old school horror. And then also like there's a bit of subtext there about blind belief in faith and what that can push some people towards, and kind of looking at that from more of like a reality point of view, and the way that doesn't always turn out the way anyone really wants it to be honest. So yeah, they're both available on YouTube, so if anyone's interested and wants to check them out, that would be amazing.
Well, as you talk there about messages and that's one of the things I love about independent horror movies these days, because you've the whole thing, there's a metaphor going on and a deeper meaning that kind of has you thinking during the film, and afterwards you're still kind of thinking about it, compared to the mainstream horror where it's kind of your typical...
Oh, definitely, yeah. Without a doubt. I think that's something that like the independent scene really, really has going for it, as you said. Yeah. Like, lucky enough to now have met, a couple of filmmakers that I really, really look up to, and like within their films, just some of like the meanings in there, and so some of these guys I've met like in horror, but actually some of the other films they've been doing, like some I'm sure you're fully aware of, Paddy Murphy, who I met at Screenvention in Dublin.
He was on last week.
Oh really?
Yeah,
oh, awesome.
He's a great guy.
Oh yeah, Paddy's Yeah, he's so cool, so cool. And I mean, he makes some like really, really great horror stuff, like some amazing stuff. But I've recently seen the film he's taken to Cannes, The Cheese Box, and like I'm not underestimating myself. It might be the best independent short I've ever seen in my life. Like it just, I'm not gonna say too much. Like I don't want to really like ruin any of people
about it or it'll ruin it.
Oh my! Like I'm not gonna say a thing, but like all I will say is, if you get the chance, see it, because it just blows me away. And that, like, the fact that comes out of an independent scene, and the fact that an independent filmmaker like Paddy goes out and makes something like that, probably in like a Hollywood system or even in like the British film system, where you have to do what kind of your big investors really want you to do, and you've got to put this in there and you've got to put that in there. And like, it's a shame, because guys like Paddy are turning out these films that, I'm telling you, when he gets to Cannes, he's going to like turn that place upside down with that film. It's amazing.
Well, he sent me the screener. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So,
watch it. Watch it. Straight after.
I particularly love the Three Don'ts. That is fantastic, and that's been
that is so cool. Yeah, he's currently. I've seen like the preview of it, and it's like, that's really good as well. Again, like so different. He has like such an amazing, like, there's a couple of guys at the minute like out there that like just they're really, really killing it on just being able to like jump in and out of different genres, different types of filmmaking, but keep their own stamp on it. Like, that's what I really like. I think you watch, especially with Paddy, like you watch his films and like you see, oh, okay, like I know this is him. If you've seen his other stuff, I know it's him. And I think there's a couple of guys out there that are doing that at a minute, and my God, like they're absolutely nailing it. They really are.
It's fantastic, because like, I like mainstream horror as well, but they kind of go for the typical jump scares all the time. Now, saying that, I love a good fright as much as the next person. But I'm just really liking this style of horror I'm seeing now, like The Babadook, perfect example. So many people didn't like that because they weren't getting the message.
Like, do you know what? Like, I do like a good scare, and a jump scare done right can really work. But in all honesty, jump scares are like, they're my biggest hate in horror at the minute, because like I just don't think they're done right either. Like, they're done, like they do like 10 of them in a film. And then by the time you get to that 10th one, the one that actually means something, it doesn't mean anything. Because like they didn't tease you all the way to that 10th scare. They gave you 10 scares, and by the time you get to number 10, you don't care anymore. Or like, even if you don't jump to the extent you should have. I hate the idea that like now there is this real acceptance that horror has to have these jump scares, and like that's what horror is. And if you don't do that, then it's not horror. Like, you're right, like people didn't really get the Babadook because the whole relationship between the mother and son building up to it, and they didn't really do a lot of jump. I don't think they'd done any really until the end, and like the whole fear of that film come from their relationship, and that was amazing. It was so good. And like the same goes, and actually for me, an even better film is a film that came out this year called The Witch. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't.
But like that,
oh
my God, that's such a throwback.
Stephen King said it frightened the life out of him. So if he's saying that, but our local cinemas, you can get it in. I was raging.
No, do you know what? My local cinema didn't get it. I had to travel like an hour out of the way to like go and watch it. But oh my God, it just is. Like, it is what horror should be. Like, it's like, I get, like, in the screening I was in, I had like probably 4 or 5 people that walked out of the cinema because they just didn't really get it. They couldn't take it, because it is a really slow building film. Yeah. But if you wait till the end and you get that ending, and like you just the payoff is amazing. And that's the point. Like, if in The Witch they had like jump scared you the whole way, by the time you get to the end of the film, it would not have the impact it has.
Atmosphere is
and
so
it's
important.
Just atmosphere is everything. Like, in my opinion, like, atmosphere, absolutely everything. Like, if you can build that, if you can build an atmosphere, then like, you can have all my money, take all my money, because you can do exactly what I want to see in film.
In TV, then, you take a look at The Walking Dead. You have people who give out about that, saying, oh God, that episode was so boring. But it's the whole story building there again. When they're building for a few episodes, the payoff is going to be amazing, and it always is in The Walking Dead.
Oh, without a doubt. Like, that is why The Walking Dead is as good as it is. Like, from season 1 all the way to now, like, till that ending that a lot of people hated with Negan, and who did he kill?
People are saying they're going to boycott next season. That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. No, they're not. Like, people, it's a joke. in a way, like, it is frustrating. I get that, but at the same time, I expected it.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, like 5 episodes previous, that's what you're gonna get. Like you're gonna get. I didn't think it would be like the POV thing. I didn't guess that, but I was saying to people, I actually thought you got a lot more in Negan that final episode than I thought you was. I thought literally he was going to walk up in the end shot, pick his baseball bat up, and you wouldn't know who he was going to kill. And that was it. But
we got a good bit of
story. But that's what you expect. Like you don't. There's no way they're giving it away. Like that's going to be the biggest thing that maybe ever happened on the show, depending on who they kill. So there's no way they're giving it away yet. And but then the payoff, like I said, the payoff will be so much more. The payoff will be amazing when you get to next season, episode 1, and they might even hold it off to like the very end of episode 1 or the start of episode 2. But the payoff when you finally find out you're gonna kill people, like it's gonna be amazing.
Who do you think it is?
For me, I think see in my head says Glenn, because that's what happened in a comic, and it kind of makes sense in a way. It kind of makes sense that they kill Glenn, but actually my heart and the person I probably would kill off would have been Daryl, because
why Daryl?
Yeah, I would have killed because because like that will hurt people more. Like it can't be. They're not going to do like Rick or something like that's too big. But like with Daryl, like that will hurt people. But at the same time, like it's not as big as like if you killed Rick. But yeah, if you kill Daryl off, like that's going to shock the hell out of people. But then at the same time, thinking logically, if you look at a few films these days, the guy that plays Daryl is all of a sudden popping up in a few more films. His IMDb is getting a bit more packed, so I think he might be trying to walk away a little bit and do a little bit more. I mean, he's been on the show since the start, so of course he wants to do a bit more. And he's also actually got a brand new show coming out on AMC the same time The Walking Dead comes back, so who knows.
Well, do you know what my theory is, right?
Yeah, go on.
Well, first of all, right, as you said, I don't read comic books, but I know, as you said, Glenn gets killed in the comics, right? So that's what people be expecting, so they're not going to do that, right? Then I can't see them killing Daryl, because that would just send the fans crazy, because he's like everybody's favourite character. So what I was thinking was Rosita. See how this storyline all of a sudden comes along, Abraham splits up with your one.
Yeah.
That storyline has come out of nowhere now. So was it a little build up?
Yeah, very true, very true. But then at the same time, I don't think that will be big enough. I just think like if they'd done that, that would disappoint a lot of people, because I don't think it is big enough. I think there's a few characters that like if you killed off, it'd just be like, oh, okay. I think there's if you're getting your top characters to kill, and it looked like in the comics that was such a big moment to kill one of the main guys. Like they have to hit that level in TV. So like for me, like it's not going to be Rick. Like it just can't be, and I can't see it being Carl by the same stretch. So Michonne, it could be Michonne because of the whole like relationship with Rick now. That could happen for the same reason that you just explained. Because that kind of like, where the hell did that come from? That just like popped up all of a sudden.
It just seems wrong. It doesn't seem right, them two together. I don't know.
Yeah,
they're not suited.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But we'll meet back in October and see who was right.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, what plans have you got now for the coming year? Have you any other projects up your sleeve?
I have actually. So the thing like in the immediate future, like right now, is still silently, and we've still got a couple more like festival notifications coming up next month. I think maybe the end of this month. So fingers crossed we get into some of them, and then I'm probably going to do a couple more stops on the solo tour, and then I just produced a little comedy horror film called The X. So that should be coming out from a couple of first-time filmmakers. So that should be coming out within the next couple of months. So look out for that one. And then me and Sophie also stars in it, and we used like quite a bit of the crew from Silently. We made a film for the Colchester Film Festival 60-hour challenge last year. So we've kind of like taken that back now, and because we had to rush it over 60 hours, we haven't like gone back and reshot anything, but we had to cut a lot out that we shot. So we've done an extended version, like brand new color grade, brand new sound design. Someone was designing me this like awesome little title card for it, and I'm getting a cool poster made for that as well. So that's called Holding Back. So it's like a little drama character piece, like one person just Sophie in it. So that will be like interesting to see how people take that. It's more of a drama thing than the horror stuff that few people know me for now. And then there's something else. I'm not sure if I can mention too much, but all I will say is there's this feature anthology film that is kind of going down, and I've been asked to make one of the segments, but maybe that's all I can say about that, so I don't want to ruin anything. And then my big thing is obviously trying to work on my debut feature. So I'm working with a guy at the minute that's going to produce the film for me. We're currently on the second draft of the screenplay, so I'm writing the second draft at the minute. And hopefully we're going to have that kind of, our aim is to have that up and running by about September and be shooting in September. So fingers crossed we can get that moving.
Is that a horror?
Yes, that is a horror. So that so yeah, I can kind of like tell you a little bit more about that one. So that's a horror. It's so on the surface, on the top, it's like a zombie film. The basic idea of the film is it's a 2-character piece. You've got a boy and a girl on either side of a very large town, and they've got to find their way to each other over the course of 2 days. So while it is a zombie film, that's more of the background. For me, it's a survival story of these guys trying to find each other, and their only means of communication are battery-operated walkie-talkies, which they found that were left behind by the army. So they know these walkie-talkies are going to die at some point. They can only use them at certain points during the day. And then they know that when they run out, they're probably going to have to do the last leg of this journey with no communication and just hope that each other makes their agreed destination. So for me, it's kind of like this look at how we've become so reliant on our technology to communicate, and everyone's got a phone in their hand, including myself, all the time. So it's the idea of like, if we got rid of that, if we lost all that, everything we think is important, like the internet and our phones and all these apps, and it's all amazing and it's great, and like I said, I'm bloody part of it, I use it all the time. But it was like, if we cleared all that away, if we had none of that and we lost all of that, like what is really, really important to us, like fundamentally the most primal we can be. And that's like, for me, just not like, I don't want this film to like to kind of even be a relationship where they're trying to find each other in like an attraction way. It's just to be with someone, to be next to someone, to communicate with someone, just to have someone next to you, you're not alone, so not like, it's not really a romantic thing, it's just this idea, or like it's kind of like romantic, but in the sense of like where you have friends and you just need people around you, not romance in the way of like a boyfriend type situation.
Well, that sounds really good. You'll definitely have to send me a screener to that when it's finished.
Definitely. I'm really hoping to get it up and running this year, so I'm kind of gunning to like get that one out there. So I've had the idea for a while, and I'm lucky enough to find someone that now believes in it and wants to get behind it and help produce it and find the investment and stuff. So yeah, hopefully we'll be releasing a little bit more about that soon.
Well, where can people follow you then on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Scott Lyus, so that's Scott and then Lyus is Lyus. On Facebook, I'm on Facebook. If you just type my name, I'm sure you find me. Send me a friend request. I'll take friends from anyone. There's also a Crossroad Pictures Facebook page and a Crossroad Pictures Twitter page, which you can find just by typing in Crossroad Pictures. And then the big one for the work, if people want to watch the work, is on YouTube. So youtube.com/Crossroad Pictures.
Excellent. Well, Scott, thank you so much for coming on the show today, and I wish you the very best of luck in your career.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure. I really have enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
The Crypt interviews in association with Mayo Leisure Point Castle Bar.